to our program today and discuss, your history, the history of the program, what led you to Allen University, and the impact that you're making that you've been making for the past 3-4 years.
Well, first of all, my journey into this started, and I was the equipment manager in 1999, and I started off as the equipment manager, and I begged the coach at that time. I begged him, could I get a spot to be a coach? And he made me the equipment manager and made me, do all the stuff, wash the clothes, do the whole nine. Even made me go cut his grass. And one day I was about 2 or 3 months into it. I got kind of fed up, and I said, "Hey, cutting grass ain't got anything to do with coaching." I said, "Can I just be the running back coach or anything?" He said, "Well, I got to make sure you want it for hard enough." So I put in my dues. I did that for 3 years, and he promoted me every year. He gave me a running back job. Then he gave me the special teams coordinator. I was the director of football operations. I did everything from the ground up. So, and I'll show you how that came full circle for my life and my career of why it was important for me to learn it from the bottom up. It'll take you to why I'm at Allen today. I got out of class. After I got out of class, I would go wash the clothes, put them in the dryer. I would sneak into the offensive coordinators and the defensive coordinators meetings and be in the back taking notes, doing whatever I could do to prove that I was worthy to be a coach. 10 years later, I came back to Stillman as the head coach in 2011. Wow. And we had a very successful run there from 11 to 15. I took them to a first place finish. We had the number one offense 4 years in a row. I had in the between that time, I was coaching arena football. I had gave up on the option of saying I was gonna do, I wanted to be a high school coach. I just wanted to teach math, coach high school football, and just have a family with a white, picket fence and a little dog, and that's what I was gonna do. I went and interviewed at this high school in Selma, Alabama, and I got in. I got on the board. I did everything they asked me to do, and the guy told me he wasn't gonna hire me. And there was a guy in the room at that time, and this is always I try to tell my kids, it's important that wherever you go, what are you selling? There's always going to be somebody in the room that's going to remember you or what you said or what you did. And a guy in that room by the name of Chris Williams was starting an arena football team in Odessa, Texas. I had by that time I packed my stuff up, went out of the interview, was headed to my car, and here come Coach Williams running around the building. Hey, coach, hey, coach, hey, coach. Look what I'm about to start an arena football team in Odessa, Texas, and I want you to be a part of it. Are you interested? I said, yes. I said, but I don't know nothing about no arena football. I've never coached it. I haven't even watched it on TV. So I don't know nothing about it. So he said, well, I need you to come every week to Birmingham, Alabama, where I met Bobby Humphrey, who was coaching the Birmingham Steel Dogs. And every week, and Chris Gould and all those Alabama great guys who played at the University of Alabama were coaching that team. And I learned how to pick up arena football. Needless to say, we went over to Odessa. In 2 years, we went 20-2. I had the number one defense. I was the defensive coordinator. I had the number one defense. We won the indoor championship. And in 2006, I left and went to Lakeland, Florida, and became the head football coach of the Lakeland Thunderbolts. In 2 years there, we went 25-5, and I won another indoor championship. The very 2 years after that, I went to Huntington, West Virginia, to another arena team. We went 16-1, and I won another championship there. Then I turned around and came back and went to the Tampa Bay Storm with Tim Markle, and we won a championship there. I was just an ops guy there. I needed to hold down a job. And then I decided I wanted to go back into college football. So I went back into college football at Weber International University. Again, as we were offline, we were talking about the going and starting at the bottom again. So I went and I became his DB coach, and he was only paying me $5,000 to do it. By that time, I had made a little money, so it didn't really matter. So I did that job for 1 year. And the next year I took over as the offensive coordinator. They were ranked like number 88th in the country out of 100 teams. And in 1 year, I moved them to 88th to 27th in the country in total offense and scored a lot of points. And they had their first winning season. And then in 2011, Dr. McNeely flew to Orlando, Florida to meet with me and said he was going to make me his head coach. And those who know Dr. McNeely knows that he's a no sense. He's an old school guy. He does not like young people. And I'm still considered to be young to him right now. But he came and got me, and I started, coaching at Stillman, and we ran through the whole, thing. We was doing really well. And then they decided to shut down their program in 2015. Reginald Ruffin called and Freeman at Morehouse called and wanted me to become their offensive coordinators. I chose to take the Birmingham job because it was closer to my home in Tuscaloosa, so I didn't have to travel that far. And 2 years later, Dr. McNeely calls in 2018 and said that he was starting a football program at Allen University, and it was a job only I could do. And I was like, where is Allen University? And I didn't play Benedict 100 times. I never heard of Allen University. And then when I went on the internet, there was not a lot of great things to be said about Allen University at the time. So I was like, wait a minute, I can't be going. So I got up, I flew here and I saw it, and it needed some tender love and care. When I got here, I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with South Carolina. I fell in love with the vision that the president had set out for the program. And I just went to work and dived in, and here we are. So in my coaching career right now, I've had 5 losing seasons in 22 years. And 3 of them came here.
That's impressive. Coach, I have a question for you. When you took over Allen University and you started thinking about your staff, putting together your staff, did you take into consideration your journey and how you started from the bottom and worked your way up? When you were recruiting coaches to be a part of your program, how did your experience going from equipment manager to professional coach to now head college coach, how did your experience weigh into what you look for in your assistant coaches?
I thought about me. Everything was about me. I went and found guys that were high school coaches, guys that every job that I've been the head coach in, I've hired at least 3 high school coaches in that process, or guys that were just starting out, because I thought they would be hungry like I was. I have the Keaton rules of success, and it's 12 of them. And one at number 3 is say, don't chase money, chase opportunity. If you chase the opportunity, the money will come. A lot of people don't believe in building things. They don't believe in learning things. They want to, as you alluded to earlier, they just want to start off as the president of the college. They don't want to be the admissions counselor. They don't want to learn the aspects of what it needs to take. All that I learned under Theophilus Danzy as the equipment manager, director of football operations, and the whole 9 taught me how to organize a program. So from that point on, I knew how to organize a program. So once you learn from the bottom of how to organize a program, as you've probably seen, you've had guys that know the basketball, they know football, they can coach their position. Right. But if you ask them to do anything other than coaching their position, you fell short. So when I hire guys, I'm always looking for a guy that can run the computer, break down film, guy who can clean the locker room up, and I don't have to ask him to do it, who will wash the clothes. And I still do that now. As a head coach, I'll break down the film. I will cut it up and have it up for the coaches. After a game, I don't have a film coordinator here. He left and took another job at South Carolina State. And so every night I had to break down the film, cut it, put it together, and have it up on Huddle so the coaches could be able to evaluate and get ready for the next game. Did I see a problem in that? No. The reason why I did it is because I want to be successful. And
Coach, with that and the importance of it, of wanting to be successful, how much of your passion and purpose is for the kids? Because as you mentioned, the dollar amount, a lot of coaches are worried about the dollar amount. That's something that obviously you haven't been worried about throughout your journey. It's been more so about big impact. So how important is purpose and passion for coaches who are leading these young individuals, to set them up for the rest of their lives?
My biggest thing always has and always will be about the child. I think that when I get to heaven, God's not going to ask me about how many games I won. He's going to ask me about how many people that I helped. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And the first thing I remember about when I pledged, it was about upholding the name high. Always helping. We had a program called Go to High School, Go to College, which always made me wonder, well, somebody stood in the gap for me. Somebody gave me an opportunity. I didn't make it here by myself. Somebody got to be that person to be that guide and hold and help a kid get where he got to go. As we were talking about off the camera, when you talk about a kid, he may not be the best football player, but I try to find a place that he can add value in the organization. And if I can find a place for him to add value, and as long as he don't cause any problems or mess up what we're trying to go, I will keep him on my team. And some of the coaches get mad at me and say, well, coach, why are you keeping him? He can't play a lick, but he's going to graduate. He's going to be successful. He's going to run a business one day. He's going to create opportunities for other people. And all he's going to remember is how I treated him. Not about what he learned on the football field. There's valuable lessons that every coach teach. And you as a player, Yolanda as a coach, you guys know that you teach valuable lessons. And I think it teaches you the game of life. I taught him how not to quit. I'm honest with him about his skill set. And I believe that it's all about those kids, because without the kid, I don't have a job.
So, Coach, working at a HBCU is a challenge in and of itself because of resources. Like myself, when I coached at Clark, we were resource challenged, and you're required to wear so many hats when you're at these institutions. How challenging is it as a head coach? Because, personally, like, we don't see the other side of coaching. We see coaches on ESPN, you see the wins and the losses, you see all the glitz and the glamour, and in my opinion, a lot of people want to get in coaching because of the position, because of the visibility, because of the power, and they don't understand the commitment. So talk about the other side of coaching that people don't get to see, that you're a whole person outside of being a coach. You have whole person responsibilities, just like your athletes are real people, and they not only have to perform on the field, but they have other issues going on in their lives that you're a part of a lot of times at these schools. So can you talk about how you balance it all?
That you really need to figure out a way to balance your life, that you can include your family, and you also include your kids, your football kids, and you also include the jobs that you have, but you prioritize them. When it's a priority to do those things, you do it, and learn to say no. That's probably the hardest thing I had to ever say. Learn to say no. I can't do everything.
How do you keep the kids motivated? Being restricted resources. What's that conversation like when you go into these households with parents? What's the leading factor in the conversation?
Well, in my opinion, I feel like you sell yourself. Yeah. You're the representative that come in that house that day to talk to that kid. They don't know nothing about Allen University. I'm the first representative of Allen University. If I can sell him on me, what I've accomplished and what I'm doing, and they believe in my goals and values, and mom walks away happy about what she chose, I think you got a kid there. I don't think it's ever about the university. I don't ever think it's just, all about the books, because the same English they teach here, they teach at South Carolina, they taught you at Auburn, they taught you somewhere. I think it's about how people make you feel. So if you can get somebody to feel good about what you're selling, I think you'll be good at what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying, I don't want my words to be misconstrued that the institution doesn't matter, because it does matter. But at the same time, I think you're the first person they meet as a coach. I have to do a good job of selling myself to the parent to make her believe to let her baby go over to me.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of it, my approach was not only that, but also getting to know what the kid wants. Like, what is it? What's your goals? Like, and how can I help you achieve them? Being very upfront and very honest about, this is what we have to offer. Like, this is what it is. I can't change the dorms. I can't change, what kind of food they serve in the cafeteria. I can't change any of that. But what I can do is offer you an opportunity to help change your life. Yeah. If you're in a situation and you're growing up where you don't have a lot and you haven't seen people go to college or explore, life or have a whole lot of opportunities, I can give you a chance to change that. And that has to mean more than even basketball. It has to mean even more than, coming to play for me. It has to be, I made it always about, what do you want your life to look like when it's all said and done? And how can I help you achieve that? It starts with, unless you have some highly marketable skill or your mama and daddy can write a check, you need a degree. Mm-hmm. You need a degree in something. It doesn't matter what it is, you need to be able to show that you can start and finish something. And as you grow and as you learn, as you live, then you can figure it out along the way. But in the meantime, come on over here and let me help you, and we can, win a few games, and you get your degree in the process, because, again, when you're at a low resource school, you can't change any of those things. So I always try to appeal to what it was that the kid want, and to show them that how it is now, how you grow up isn't, and living as you're growing up, it doesn't have to be that way when you get to be an adult. And I always share my own story. College was my way out. Like basketball was my way out. My degrees opened up so many doors. And so look at it from that perspective.
Well, piggyback off that 1 second. It's the same way I motivate my kids. I do what she did. I ask them, what do they want? We set out a different set of goals. What are you trying to accomplish here? And every time when somebody get in trouble or something's not going anywhere, I reach in the drawer right to the side and I pull his folder out and I say, these are the things you said you want to accomplish. Are you practicing these behaviors? Missing class ain't going to help you get none of those goals that you just set out on this piece of paper. So these are the things you want to do. So we try not to make it about the sport, because if you make it just about football, I tell a kid all the time, don't come here just to play football, because you can't do one without the other. If you just choose the sport and something goes wrong with that sport, what's going to happen in the classroom? You're going to be disinterested in doing anything else. So it's the same way if I choose to come to college, but I just want to happen to play sport. I don't want nothing around me that's just interested. I want somebody to have high enthusiasm, high energy, and you got to bring it. I'm a winner, and I believe in it all the way through, that I need people around me that want to win. I can take an average kid that will give me above average effort, and I can beat anybody with them because I know they bought into what I'm selling.
We need to make sure that we go and we go play for coaches who are not going to give up on us, who are going to understand the obstacles that we go through back at home. Many times I feel like we go and play for coaches, or we go to an institution based off of the institution instead of leadership. And sometimes it just doesn't work out for us, because I know for a fact if I send my son to go and play for Coach Keegan, or if I go and play for Yolanda, that they have my child's best interest. So again, how important is it for us as a community and for student athletes to continue to grow, for people like ourselves and leaders to stay in coaching roles and continue to influence the kids?
But there's a certain kid that needs what we have to offer. They need that. Absolutely. You know, I've been around and I've seen certain places like at Auburn where you play, Ryan, you got somebody to pick your towel up off the ground. Yep. No, I make you clean your own locker room up. You keep your locker clean. You do what you're supposed to do. We don't have specialists on. We don't have a food specialist. We don't have mental health is a big thing in the Black community. And now, especially with our African-American males, we have a lot of that going on. We just spend a lot of time now. We're trying to create resources. As I told you, we all need somebody to stand in the gap. Me and Yolanda are standing in the gap for people. We're the people that's pulling one for another. I go to Auburn. If I can't play anymore, then what am I good for Auburn anymore? And that's not calling and singling them out. I'm just saying, what am I good for? But if I leave at Allen University, I'm going to leave a mark here. Everybody's going to know who I am at Allen University. And that's my whole selling point of trying to get our young African-American males to understand that I want you to be a good father. I want you to be a good husband, and I want you to be a productive citizen. And I'm going to play every role I can. All the way to guys I coach back in arena football, I'm still in communication with those people. I still see they, not just on Facebook. I call them. I still know when their birthdays are. Why? Because I love them. And once you spend 4 years with a kid, I don't care who you are, you spend enough time around somebody, you'll start liking them for more than just their ability to play the game.
You in the process of rebuilding the program, and are you guys actually a D2 institution as of today? Are you working towards that? If so, what is that process looking like?
We're in a provisional year. We're in provisional year one. You have to go through a 4-year provisional year. What happened is that we were NAIA when we started out. I turned around and I found a way to, that we hired an AD. These guys came in to to take us through the transition. Unfortunately, things fell apart a little bit. So Coach Keaton and another person picked it up. In 6 months, we wrote the manuals, we wrote everything, we did everything. Now that was the learning, interesting part. I love that because I got to see a side of what was going on that was more important to me to know the things that I needed to know. I learned a lot from the transition that I had, even all the years I've been coaching, that I had never been exposed to from the NCAA standpoint. And when you speak on those terms, you speak in terms of like, all the rules, all the compliance, all the things to get the college connected, things that you didn't even know exist, how admissions, financial aid, and the compliance officer all have to be connected. You learn, all the different intricacies, and I've had a privilege to do that, which is another stamp of brand on my resume to help me become a more complete person. We're at year 2. We're trying to get there. We joined the SIAC. We've played on ESPN 4 times since I've been here. We're really making strides. And I started this program in 18 in January, and we played in August. By June, I had 72 players out ready to go, and we played our first game on August the first, whatever it is, the first time to play, and we won the game. And I was very proud of that. And we went every year. We won 2, 3, and now we're up to 4. We won 4 games in the 3 seasons we didn't play. We had the number 1 offense in the SIAC, number 28th offense in the country last year. We had 4 players that were probably, my quarterback is probably the 3rd best quarterback in Black college football. He threw for like almost 3,000 and some change. He's a true freshman.
What's his name? What's his name?
The quarterback?
Yes, sir.
David Wright III.
Yes, sir. Good deal.
David Wright III. He's from Tampa, Florida. Played at Tampa Bay Tech High School. Jamal Jones is from Armwood, Florida. He played at Armwood High School. And Bo Harrington is from off the ridge. We call it Ridgeview High School. And he's a true freshman from Florida. I'm really, really proud of the work that these kids have put in. And another thing, Coach, is it's hard for a kid to play knowing he can't play for a championship. He's only playing to get us to a level. This is a buy-in from a kid to say, regardless of what the circumstances is, I'm going to line up, I'm going to put my suit on, and I'm going to play. And I'm feeling pride and establishment in myself. And I'm not going to go out there just because we can't play for a championship. I don't want to be at that program.
Right. So you said you're in year 2 of this transition. What's the normal process? Like, how long does it take? How many years?
It takes 3 years.
3 years? Okay.
Take 3 years. And we just had our visit from the NCAA. It's kind of like SAC's review. They come in and check to make sure you have everything in place. They check financial aid, how you issuing scholarships, NILs, how you checks and balances with getting your kids, making sure that they're being registered with the clearinghouse and they're meeting initial eligibility, and also the current kids that are enrolled continuing eligibility. So we spent a lot of time with that. It has been wonderful.
Once everything is approved after year 3, what does that mean for the program? What does that mean for yourself and Allen and the community?
Everything that we're doing here is built off a legacy. I think the legacy is that we're going to leave a history. That was and Allen has a strong history. We just had a commitment from Sam Davis, who played offensive line for the Steelers with the Iron Curtain defense and that era. He won 4 Super Bowls there. He made a commitment. He died, and he paid $2 million in scholarships for our athletic program as an endowed scholarship that will help continue. And every year they're going to continue. That's from the Hines family and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've made that commitment to make football work here. I think football, athletics in its whole is important to Allen University. When I came here, I think there was 200 students registered to go to school here. After that, those 200 students, now it's like 700 and some change. And our goal is to get to 800 to 1,200 students.
Yeah, Coach. Well, hey, I definitely want one last thing I want to touch on before we get out and we let you go. I know you mentioned a lot as far as when you get into these communities and you're speaking with a lot of the student athletes that you want to bring into your university. There's a different structure as far as academics, scholarships that you're able to give out. Are you able to speak more so of the TMK Education project that you lead up and how that helps a lot of the kids from all across the country?
Well, what I try to do with TMK Sports Education Group is I try to go out to meet them at the 8th grade. Okay. And they're getting ready to go to the 9th grade. And I want to meet with the kid and I want to meet with the parents. The kids is more so to tell them, do you want to play college sports? If he needs to know that I need to pass those 16 core courses, and it starts in my 9th grade year and it also ends in my senior year. For the parent, she needs to understand financial ability. What does it look like to go to college? How much does it cost? That's what everybody wants, that thing to say, I'm going to Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, wherever. But if I'm not going to any of those institutions, I need to be figuring out how much does it cost and how am I going to pay for it. So now, if I know that academics is going to be a key component in my, getting into college, I need to spend a lot of time with my academics. And I think if you start them young, and I don't think a lot of people do a good job of onboarding student athletes anymore. Coach probably can allude to this. Now you got kids in the 12th grade. If they wasn't a superstar athlete, they haven't registered for the clearinghouse. They haven't had anybody check behind them what classes they didn't take in. They don't know anything about going to college. They don't know nothing about financial aid. They don't know nothing. So that's what inspired me to start TMK Sports Group.
Coach, I think that's commendable. Definitely needed. Just another. It adds to your duties, but in order for you to accomplish what you're accomplishing and what you're working towards at Allen University, I see that it's necessary. So kudos to you, and good luck to you as you guys transition into D2.
Thank you, guys.
Out how to do what? Yeah. Y'all don't know how emotional I am right now? Because I was here when we couldn't get this. I was here when we couldn't get this. And I thank every one of y'all. But we got to get better. Yeah. We got to finish games and we got to start winning.